I was very much involved with Father George Kuhn, who was the then pastor of St. Bridget's. At that particular time, I had the entire church basement for a storage area where I ran an antique shop out of it and gave away furniture and different in conjunction with Father George and others. We had a great mission of mercy to the poor. We were very much involved with the homeless meetings against, when the people had the tent city in the park. We were arrested several times for civil disobedience. The federal government, and specifically the New York State FBI, needed a scapegoat. They had to find one. They found one in me. My previous background with Ireland, my outspoken stuff here, my radicalism among the poor. They needed a scapegoat. The only one bad mistake they made, the concept of scapegoat. At the end of the time of atonement, in ancient Hebrew, they would take a goat, tie little cloths and stuff with all their sins on the horns of the goat, and send him into the desert to disappear and die. Well, this is one goat that didn't decide to die. He took their sins out into the desert and brought them back with him, and gave him a good butt in the ass when he got back, and intends to continue to do it until he draws his last breath. Bottom line. Yes. The truth shall set you free, Michael. Nothing else. When I arrived at Minnesota, doctors asked me, how do you feel? I said, fine. What do you mean you're fine? What's your ailment? None do I know. Look at my chart. Looks, I don't see anything here. Why are you here? Then he made a phone call and he said, oh, you're the priest. I said, I'm a priest? Oh. Well, he said, unfortunately, I can't discuss any more with you. You're here by administrative government order to movement. So it meant, in other words, high profile, and they want to be out of circulation. So that was the only place they could hide me in Minnesota. Crazy. And even there, they concocted stories to try to keep me in a high category. That woman Tessing, I'll never forget her name, she wrote in IRA operative, general of their army, all this, which was not at all in my chart. So they falsified the chart to try to keep me. See, there would be maximum security because it's a hospital as well, and there are no classifications. So since there are going to be people at the top classification, like the cappies and all the major people are there. And then every time I was moved, there was top security surrounding it. So in other words, basically, misinformation, since they couldn't get on me, what they wanted to get on me, they tried to put the tag on. And there's one way to fight back without ever raising a finger. I said, let's kill them with kindness. I mean, the screws never, and said, when you're passing some guy today, instead of growling at him or cursing him under your breath, smile at them. They'll drive them nuts. They'll think we're up to something. And we got that going to the whole place. There was another time, I'm going out a door, and this old guy is shuffling along, rough, mean old guy. I held the door for him, Yeah. And he says, hey, what you holding the door for, Pop? I said, well, you're going out the door, aren't you? And you ain't going first? You mean, you was holding that door for me? I said, why not? Wouldn't you hold it for me? Well, no, I held nothing for no prisoner before. I said, my friend, start holding doors for people. Let's respect our own individual dignity. They've tried to take it away from us. Let's get it back by showing them we're bigger than they. I said, by the end of the week, they'll be going crazy. They'll be expecting there's something happening. There's a breakout. There's going to be a food strike. We'll drive them nuts. And believe it or not, it caught on. It caught on. I lived like a monk. And it wasn't unpleasant for me. Loss of family, yeah. My community still kept going here. Every day, with a rare exception, 11 o'clock, I would call home. Anna, whose photographs out there, she since died, was here. I'd say, Anna, will you light the candles in the chapel? And put on whatever music you like and say your prayers. I start my mass at 11 o'clock. I said, you'll be attending from a distance. The longest term I spent was at the former seminary turned into a prison in Loretto, Pennsylvania. I met very colourful characters there. And other than that obnoxious chaplain, the woman, it would have been not bad at all. Because total free movement, no gates, no bars. Strictly like it was a seminary converted into a prison. In the beginning, 2 in a room. Later on, they broke down a wall and put 6 in a room because of the overcrowding. But one thing you had there was free movement. Once the day was done at 5 o'clock, and you went to bed, if you had an evening job, lights didn't go out till 10 o'clock at night. You could wander the corridors at night. You could go from one building to the next. Total free movement. I gave an extensive interview during my incarceration to the New York Times. They took about 300 or 400 pictures at the interview, and they came up to the place, right up to Loretto. Now, the day of that, it appeared on the centerfold of the Times on a Sunday, and the day after the interview, Benny Figgs, he's now out. Benny is one of the top, retired cappies. He lives in the village now. So Benny always paraded around with a minimum of 4 lieutenants, 2 in front, 2 behind. So this particular day, after the article, tap comes to my door, and there's Benny. And he said, may I come in? I said, welcome, American brother, comes in. And he said, well, I understand, my wife told me there was a very important article in the Times about some outspoken priest that told you where it's at, what it's like in the system. Can't believe that anybody inside would have done it because they'll retaliate.
Yeah.
And he said, today they took the centerfold out of our paper. Didn't want the inmates to get it, you see. So he said, however, my lawyers here told me that's a violation of their own rules. We're going to march in the warden's office and demand it. We just want to know before. We don't want to expose you to anything extra. They might try to transfer you out because of notoriety, but I'm going home soon. However, I said, don't worry about that, Benny. I already predicted in the article that they'll penalize me for telling the truth about their filth and their dirt and everything else. So I said, I told them, if they move me, make sure to move on them, because you'll know it's retaliation. So already, what can it do? They hated the fact that somebody could be smart them. Now, the very following day after that, knock comes to the door. I was after my night job. I was lying in my bed casually. Benny walks in, and he brings me coffee. Says one more thing. He gives me my hand. I said, what's this on about, Benny? He said, I never thought I'd live to see it, that anybody would take them on and tell them right to their faces who they are and what they are, he said. He said, I'll do my time peaceful till I get out and go home. He said, I'll never forget it. He said, thank you very much. I told the truth. It had to be told. Because it is a cruel, vicious, medieval system. There's a famous African diplomat. One time after visiting the American prison, he said, prison is hell. In the twinkling of an eye, you go from the dark ages, from the age of reason, to the dark ages. And that's mildly put. It is bad. You see, not only are you punished in the prison, and there's absolutely no attempt at correction or improvement. They should be properly referred to as the French government penal colonies. There are no federal prisons. They're penal colonies. Not for the physical torture, which is not unknown, because of the bad medication they give you, the inept and unqualified improper personnel in that, and the disregard for health, and the lousy food that they serve. But the psychological torture is, other than spiritual or intellectual person, it could destroy you. Now, interestingly, when I was leaving Loretto, there was a great big woman there. She was a big car. She called her, we used to call her Big Bird. She was not bad at all, but she was forced to do a few dirty things, toss my locker, look for contraband they could never find. Or they figured I'd hide something for other inmates or that. But when I'm getting rid of you, she said, yeah, Maloney, kind of miss you, but I'm glad to get rid of you. I said, why, Bird, what have I done to you? Well, she said, every morning at 7 o'clock when you come off your tour of duty, at night, you'd walk around the diamond. I said, the playing field, no, the praying field. I said, my rosary and stuff like that. Yeah, she said, do you know, she said, that with the freezer ass, we were posted one at each four corner of the field. I said, never noticed where we were, she said, because of your status, etc. What do you mean status? I'm a lowest level prison. Nah, not where they're concerned. And she said, if we ever heard a whirly bird from the post on the way, we were on red alert. Oh, she said, come on, Father Maloney. 5 million out there, and the IRA and all the rest. We thought they'd be coming over the fence any day to get you. Freaking fancy. They're up in the Hollywood. I said, what? I said, hey, officer, did you read Alice in Wonderland? Did you read The Wizard of Oz also? That's the paranoia they suffer from. The government fed them garbage. That I was a possible escape, risk, a danger, all that. They wanted to build up the drama on the record. See, here's the point. Every bloody cop in the place, all the people working, have access to your files. So they wanted to create an atmosphere among everybody. This easygoing, soft-spoken, whatever, little guy, simple guy, is really like, what they call it, the enigmatic priest, the shadow. They didn't know. They really thought I was who I wasn't. Again, they made a stupid mistake. So the present day, they don't know. We're doing time, but we'll eventually see the light of day. They're doomed to be here till either they retire or they die. They're imprisoned all the time. They've got to come in and out of this every day. We know there's light at the end of the tunnel. They don't.